Hello, welcome. What a lovely day for a day trip out to the seaside. Look at this. Beautiful, beautiful greens. The Beatles and the Sussex connection. Is there a Sussex connection? There is for the Beatles, and also McCartney, and also some tenuous links, and I'm going to try and cover all of them. So why not start right here? This is Millionaires Row with its private beach. Now, McCartney marries Heather Mills and they buy one of these properties. I think we've got Adele has a property, Nick Berry, the guy from Heartbeat and EastEnders. So McCartney and Heather Mills got their apartment. They then separate. She still lives here, but then she sells it on to Norman Cook and Zoe Ball. I knew a Zoe Lee once. Zoe Ball. I think there could be better places to live. I suppose it's a weekend retreat if nothing else, isn't it? Okay, so I've got on my agenda today a couple of locations in Brighton city centre, Millionaires Row, as you've just seen. Some homes relating to John, although tenuous. That's going to be the word of the day, tenuous. And then a couple of locations on the outskirts of Brighton, but still in Sussex. So the Beatles Sussex connection. Are you ready for this? Oh, I will add, big shout out to the real Aunt Mimi, one of my subscribers, because it was suggested by the real Aunt Mimi, why don't you do a Sussex connection? So yeah, this is it. I didn't know there was so much. I've got at least 7 locations to take a look at. So let's go here. We are along the promenade, but behind me is the Brighton Centre. Now, as part of Wings' 1979 UK tour, they stopped here.
All right, how you doing? All right. Listen, sorry to keep you waiting like this, but what can we do now?
So pretty much like the Eastbourne Hippodrome, which is on the seafront and is a venue for acts and events, and we'll get into the Eastbourne Hippodrome section later. McCartney and Wings, the 1979 lineup, performed here. Anyway, Wings performed here 1979 on that ill-fated world tour, which didn't come off, did it? Oh, music, copyright. I want to go down here. So up this little side street, we've got the Brighton Hippodrome. You'd think it would be right on the seafront, wouldn't you? I think they're doing it up. Now, the Beatles played 3 gigs here on the 2nd of June 1963 and the 12th of July 1964, and they were paid £850 for both of those. Now, they came back a third time, the 25th, can't quite remember, of October 1964, and this was the height of Beatlemania. It was reported that fans were spending 17 hours queuing for tickets, and it would have been at this location that the Beatles played and nobody heard what they were doing because of all the screaming and the screaming fans. It was all happening here. So a relentless series of tours from 63, 64 and then into 65. No wonder they got worn out, eh? Beatles were at the Hippodrome in Brighton. Right, let's go here. Okay, this is a bit of a sombre location, but it's worthy of note. Now, on the 11th of February 1965, Ringo married Maureen Cox. I took you to that location, Caxton Hall, this video here. But he was due in Abbey Road on the 15th of February, and then subsequently a week later had to fly out to the Bahamas to do some filming for Help. I had to think then, what was he doing in 1965? This left 3 days for a honeymoon, so not really a long time. So Brian had a friend here down here in Brighton named David Jacobs. He was a lawyer, and he owned the house behind me, number 2 Princess Square. So Maureen and Ringo came down here and had their 3-day honeymoon. Now, press got wind of it and subsequently camped out on the roads here and everything. They wanted Ringo, anything they could do to get a story or a scoop. But in order to kind of calm the press, Ringo and Maureen invited them in and said, look, we'll do a photo shoot for you, but you've got to leave us alone. We're on our honeymoon. So in the back garden, they, there's all these photographs. I'll overlay them for you. Now, David Jacobs was a close friend of Brian Epstein's, as I said. Now, we know that Brian took his life in 1968 in August. Well, I say took his life. Overdose of barbiturates and alcohol, right, caused his death. It was David Jacobs who oversaw all the litigation afterwards. He read the will. He dealt with all the financial matters and actually even identified Brian's body. So that was quite kind of morbid. A year later, he took his own life. He was found here in the garage, hanged himself. I want to say hanged himself. He was found with a noose around his neck and a stool by his feet, so he'd obviously stood on the stool and kicked it away. Now there's several, the inquest recorded a verdict of suicide, although there had been signs of struggle, so obviously if he'd started hanging himself, tried to get himself free. But apparently he had a lot of financial issues, and he was the guy that signed away all of the merchandise right for the Beatles for a measly 10%. And this is what the coroner at the verdict said. It's not my place to, delve into it and look into these issues, but that was potentially it. However, there's also another conspiracy theory connection, and that is that the Cray twins, who had they were going on trial at the Old Bailey for the murder of, was it George Cowell and John McVitie, and they'd been approached, or David Jacobs had been approached by associates of the Crays to act on their defence, and he said no, emphatically no, and had gone to the police and said, I need protection, and he didn't get protection. So there we get conspiracy theories, is that why David Jacobs, died? So yeah, 2 Princess Square, Ringo and Maureen took their honeymoon. Let's go up the road. This is Bourne Court, just off the London Road, still in Brighton. Now, you all know who Alf Lennon is, don't you? You don't? Alfred Lennon, father of John Lennon. For an in-depth study on Alfred Lennon, or Alf Lennon, it's worth checking out the book by Philip Norman, John Lennon, The Life. Now, I got this on Audible as kind of the free entry, where you sign up, you get a free audio book, and I thought that's the one to listen to. I also bought the actual hardback, and I got it on eBay for something like $5.99. It's like a tome. I think there's more words in it than the Bible, but it's such a great read, and it really takes you in. Anyway, Alf Lennon, a little potted history. Married Julia Lennon, 1938. Merchant seaman, often off to sea. John's born 1940. Because of his sailing, and not obviously being to sea, he has very little to do with John during his infancy. Because it's World War II, Alf says to Julia, make sure you go out and have some fun. Go to dances and stuff. After all, there's a war on. Subsequently, Julia gets pregnant. Alf returns from leave and says he will look after Julia, their son, John, and her baby. But Julia doesn't want anything to do with that. She says, no, you know, I don't want to do that. So the checks and the support payment that Alf is giving to Julia dries up. He goes AWOL, 1946, gets involved in all sorts of shenanigans, and therefore is out of John's life. And he doesn't get back into his life until Beatlemania, where he turns up. You're going to have to read or listen to this audiobook. There's so much information and I can't give it to you here. But in 1966, Alf, at the age of 53, meets Pauline Jones. She's an 18-year-old and she's working at the NEMS office. I think it's because he met her and he asks John to get Pauline a job. So 1966, they elope to Gretna Green in Scotland, they get married, and they come down here and they get themselves a flat at Bourne Court. And I think they're actually happily married for a period of 10 years because they have 2 children. 1969, David Henry Lennon, John's half-brother, is born, and 1973, Robin Francis Lennon is born. Do some internet research. There's quite a lot about, you know, what these 2 lads did or do. You know, Professor Robin Francis went on and did some stuff. But they move out of here and then they move to Ladies Mile Road, just up the way, where they live until Alf dies, 1976, the 1st of April, stomach cancer. Actually, 9 days after Paul McCartney's father dies. So, you know, it's just, everything is interconnected, isn't it? So I want to take a little drive up Ladies Mile Road. I actually don't know what house they lived in. It may well be, there's a plaque, but I think I might just drive on up there. So let's go and have a look at Ladies Mile Road. So this is Ladies Mile Road. It could have been any one of these houses, to be quite honest. But in this street, Alf and Pauline moved, and David and Robin were born and lived here until he passed away in 1976 of stomach cancer. Now there's a strange thing. I think I'm 3 months older, 3 or 4 months older than Julian Lennon. And my nan, on my father's side, is 3 months older than Alf Lennon. He was born on the 14th of December 1912, and my nan was born on the 11th of September 9/11 1912. So there, just a sort of spurious connection. I'm kind of looking for blue plaques. Who would have a blue plaque? Alf Lennon once lived here. But that's Ladies Mile Road. We're done there now. So I've got one more place to go, and, well, I say one more place. I don't know what order I'm doing it, so let's go here. Now, you know I mentioned the Eastbourne Hippodrome. Well, part of the UK tour for Wings, 1979, they used the Eastbourne Hippodrome for rehearsals, quite apart from performing at Brighton. And part of the footage for the rehearsals, but also for a particular Christmas song of McCartney's, was filmed at the Eastbourne Hippodrome, but they also filmed here. It's the Fountain Inn at Ashurst. Shall we put an earworm in your lug hole? Simply having... I couldn't remember what it was. My most hated Christmas song goes on and I do that. However, McCartney filmed it in here. I wonder if I should actually go in and see if it's changed. They might even have some memorabilia. Let's walk over there. So as well as filming inside, they filmed quite a lot of footage outside in front of the front door and everything. Please use the side gate here. The Fountain Inn at Ashurst. go in, have a look, see if it's changed. Where am I going? It's obviously the restaurant. So they'd have been propping up here. I think the TV was set up down there. And had a jolly good time. And if we look here, we've got the little bar area. And you'd have had Linda and Paul dancing in front of the fireplace. It's very tiny, isn't it? What a fascinating little pub. It's the quintessential English country, in the heart of the country, right? I'm just waiting for my lunch. And what we'll do is, oh, hang on, it's coming. You want to see this. For all you non-meat eaters out there, I apologise. Look at that. Pork chop looks like it's just been off a barbecue. So yeah, I'll enjoy my lunch. Did I show you the pub from here? It just looks wonderful, doesn't it? Country garden. What does make me wonder is, how does the scouting team come up with a location? You know, Paul says, we're going to do a Christmas song and we want a scene of a pub. Now, bearing in mind he's in East Sussex, Peasmarsh, loads of pubs there, and they come all the way out to the Fountain at West Sussex, which is not too 26 minutes drive north of Brighton, so not far at all. Yeah, I'll eat my lunch, pay the bill, go inside, and then kind of do some footage going out. I might even have a chat with the people. But yeah, the Fountain Inn at Ashurst. Simply having a wonderful lunchtime.
You had the pork chop and the latte cup, sir.
Yeah, and the glass of water.
That's an extra charge, though. We're at $18.95.
Thank you.
Don't include service.
Did you know this pub has a Paul McCartney connection?
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do? Fabulous. Because it doesn't look like you were here in 1979.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't even born yet.
But there's no memorabilia, no pictures or anything like that.
No. And then, who was that guy that used to sit in the corner? Laurence Olivier.
What, used to come here?
Yeah, that's why his pictures are
Oh,
there.
no way. I love finding things like this.
So, yeah.
All done?
All done. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Laurence Olivier. My word. I'll ask poor Yorick. I knew him well. Was that Hamlet? But I've got to show you the window. Because well, I'll overlay it. I'll overlay the image. Where are you? Where are you, camera? Wake up. So, let's go. I'll use that hand. Let's go here. Now, this is a tenuous link because I'm in Midhurst in East Sussex, no, West Sussex, across the border. And I'm not actually sure if the Beatles ever came to Midhurst, whether as a band, because it's kind of just a small little hamlet, and whether they came here as individuals. I've just spied this though. H.G. Wells came here and attended the grammar school as a pupil and a teacher. No one would have believed had I not shown you. Anyway, the tenuous link here is a charity shop. Now, we know charity shops, they kind of all across the country, high streets, that kind of thing. And people tend to leave their unwanted bits and bobs, shall we say, and they put them in black bags outside the front of the store at the late of night. Why do they do that? And they're too embarrassed to actually say, oh, you know, here's all my things. Why don't you take them and sell them for charity? Anyway, just along here was the British Heart Foundation. I believe now it's Macmillan's charity. And what happened was some items were donated to the shop. And what I can only assume to be a savvy worker or manager had actually, I'll put a picture of the shop there so that you can see what it's all about. He had seen that there was a single in the collection of things that were going or being donated. It kind of makes me wonder, should we always go in to a charity shop and have a little rummage through, have a little sift through and see if we can find something. It was a 45 RPM, and the British Art Foundation then took the single to auction with a starting bid of £999.99. 64 bidders went for this single, and it reached £9,400. It was astonishing, the kind of things that you find in a charity shop. And what was it? It was a 45 single of Love Me Do by the Beatles, and it was one of their demo cuts, and it had the spelling of McCartney's name completely wrong. I'll put a picture here and you can see. So it does beg the question, should we go in and see if we can find, you know, these little treasures? Let's go and have a look. The Barron Knights. Just never know what you're going to come across. Oh, missed one. And once you get the bug, you just got to keep going till you get to the end. Tuneful 30s. Joe Loss. Clear Lane. Nothing took my fancy there, and there were certainly no Beatles memorabilia. But yeah, it does pay to actually have a little rummage through, because you never know what you're going to find. I'm not a collector of Beatles memorabilia. You know, I've got records and I've got CDs. I'm not out for the first pressing. I'm not out for the box set of 6 million different variants. As long as I've got the tune and the melody in my head, then I'm kind of happy with that. And in this modern age of, you know, streaming, YouTube, we can just pick up the tunes wherever. But I've got a collection anyway. But I could go in every charity shop that I can find, maybe just so that I can get a cash cow, you know, and find something and then sell it on. You never can tell. Anyway, that's Midhurst. So let's go here. Okay, I'm going to wrap the video up. It's been a long day. I've had a lot of driving, getting to all my little locations, which I've enjoyed thoroughly. But we're going to finish here. I've left West Sussex. I'm now in East Sussex. And this is Kingsley Hill House, which Brian Epstein bought in February 1968. Sadly, he only enjoyed the house February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 7 months before he then passed away. But it was here that he did a housewarming party and also a party for Sergeant Pepper's. I know he did one in his flat in London, but he also had a big party here. And we had the likes of Klaus Voormann, Kenny Everett, Lionel Bart, lots and lots of celebrities, including Derek Taylor, the press officer for the Beatles, or maybe former. And I think in the words of George Harrison, it was a bells on the knees, perm-tingling bender. And guess what? It was LSD. So they were all mind blown. I've never, you know, who's tried LSD? You know, people do cocaine and they do hashish and stuff like that. But I think the most powerful thing I've tried is Nicaraguan coffee. Well, I do the old aspirin every day for the old ticker, but that's it. But yeah, they just went on one. Now, Paul didn't attend the party. He had chosen to stay with Jane Asher, who had returned from America. And this had really upset Brian, who I'd read was quite paranoid about Paul at this stage in the whole relationship. And I think I can see why, because although John was the leader of the Beatles, he started it all off, you could see that he'd handed over the reins to Paul. Paul was actually driving the band and driving its future. He potentially would become, well, he was, wasn't he, the most successful of the 4 Beatles, billionaire that he is now. So there you have it, Kingsley Hill House in West Sussex, Warbleton. I don't think I've been putting maps and things, or maybe I have. I've just come to my mind that I'll put maps. So if you've seen maps, it's because I got to this point and I've decided to put maps. Maybe I didn't. So that's it. Big shout out to all my subscribers. You are wonderful. I love the interactions, the comments you all leave, correcting me where I'm wrong, and that's fine because I learn then, don't I? It's all a voyage of discovery, you know, and I guess for me it's getting out there, doing it for my enjoyment, but then actually seeing that other people have the same passion as me and they enjoy it too. So it's become a great little community. And so yeah, shout out to all of you subscribers. If you're new to the channel, my name is Tudor Smith and I do all sorts of things. I've been doing a lot of Beatles and McCartney, but I do history and I do music. I do photography, but that's on a different channel. Link up here. So what I will say is, anyone who liked it, click the like button. Where is it? It'll be down there, won't it? Is it there? Yeah, it should be down there. Hit the subscribe button so that you can get future content. Tickle the bell. Oh, it's been so quiet, and then I got one car going through. And I will say thanks so much for watching and bearing with, and I will see you in another video. Bye for now.